Is there a new defensive trend starting in MMA? We'll see. It really depends on where folks go from here. Have fighters been doing their homework? Have they been watching Jon Jones, who we're going to be discussing, one of the folks we're going to be discussing today, and have they been studying his film? Now, this defensive trend, I will be straight up with y'all. It is very easy for this to come off as uh, a very cowering look to judges. I will say that Jon made a pretty compelling case that you can, if this is done correctly, you can actually make this look like you have pretty good ring generalship. And I'd argue potentially you do have pretty good ring generalship if you can play this appropriately. You guys didn't skip any part of the video. I have not mentioned what the trend is yet. That trend is running. So turning your back and running. Now, this doesn't initially seem like something that's a smart idea in terms of dealing with someone who is coming at you. So in this case, Jon facing Stipe. Stipe tended to come in off of with boxing and close that distance with boxing. As he closed the distance, we see Jon, pulling up that long guard. Sometimes we see Jon dipping his head off to the side to change his head position outside of Stipe's straight line shots. Now, as Stipe continued to come forward, we saw Jon play the long guard or play the dipping of the head as he retreated back. Once he was able to retreat and create enough distance between him and Stipe, he would simply, mind you, as he felt that he was getting closer to the cage, he would simply, from a dipped head position, simply turn his back and just start running. And as he would run, he would circle back to the middle. And this is, again, initially it looks a little cowardly or whatever, what have you. But if you look at the instances where Jon used it, he actually did really well in simply resetting the fight and not allowing Stipe to continue his forward motion. And this principle is a principle that I talk to with my students a lot with defense. And so I like to explain it as a stick shift car. Most folks have not driven a stick shift before, but if you know how to drive a stick, there's 5 gears going forward, and there's only 1 gear for reverse. So I can always move forward faster than you can move backwards. If we keep that principle at play, Jon Jones turning and running actually makes a lot of sense. If he's getting beaten by Stipe constantly trying to close that distance because he's going backwards, and Jon going backwards only has 1 gear, but Stipe got 5 gears, well, it would make sense. It's a logical move to simply turn so you're facing forward. Now you got 5 gears where you can run, create that distance, come back towards the center, and then reset the fight. So is this a good strategy? You guys let me know. Comment down below. What do y'all think of turning and running? Again, in my opinion, I think if it is done appropriately, it doesn't necessarily look like you're cowering. It doesn't look negative in your eyes if I'm to judge it, so long as you're using it to come back in advanced position. But I'm sure there's going to be plenty of different opinions on this. Y'all let me know what's up. Do you guys think that this is going to be a further trend? Holler down below, because I'm very curious. I will say this. It really depends on how many people is doing a film study, watching tape on Jon, and more particularly watching the stuff that is not Jon. I can almost to a T call what people are going to be sharing tons of clips of. So everybody and their moms is now talking about the setup for the spin side kick. Amazing. That's great. I'm not knocking that at all. It was a beautiful setup. Left middle kick from southpaw. Make him circle away from your left middle kick. That's going to open up his gut for your left spin side kick, spin back kick, whatever it may be. It's just a beautiful setup. However, it's predictable because why? It's the biggest moment of the fight. if you watching the tape on the stuff that's not the biggest moments, you'll see Jon is actually pretty decent at playing this. It's just a matter of other guys if you want to incorporate this in, specifically if you're having issues with someone stalking you, closing that distance on you, specifically with boxing. Um, can you, can you perhaps like add this into your game? Would it be helpful to your game? Anyways, let me know down below. You think it's going to be a trend? You think it's a wise thing to do, or not? And now I'm going to be the first one to say there's plenty of examples of this not looking so hot. If you got rocked and you just turn and run, I don't believe Chandler got rocked by. I could be wrong. Forgive me. I am. It's been a minute since I watched the fight, but Chandler didn't look quite as impressive turning and running as Jon did because there wasn't as much thought towards regaining the position in the ring. It was the primary thought was let me get out of fire. So, and again, that's nothing, not knocking Chandler at all. Obviously, if I got hit like that by Oliveira, I'd probably be doing the same thing. But you can see the differences, and you can see when many other folks run, they do it out of this desperation as opposed to trying to regain a advantageous position in the ring. Next defensive trend, and again, this is something that we've seen before, but just something that stood out. It really looked beautiful when he was able to play it. Was Rufy playing rolling with shots. So when you are rolling with shots, a big name that comes to mind, like Canelo, is great at this. He plays this in boxing. When a shot is coming, instead of keeping the jawline there and eating the shot, as the shot is moving off in this direction, I move my chin with the shot. So you take a good bit less punishment because you're kind of rolling with it. Again, we see this in boxing quite a bit. I'm sure, again, you guys can find plenty of examples in MMA, but this was just used beautifully. And one of the things that I notice about Rufy is, and again, it's been a minute, but I believe he does not roll with the shot if it's a single shot. He generally tends to roll his jawline with a shot when it is inside of a combination, which is a great option, because if it's a single shot, you can simply see that shot with your eyes and then defend it. And everybody who trains, I'm sure I got plenty of folks watching this video that do not train. All good. If you do train, you realize that if someone is sparring with you and they're just throwing one shot at a time, that's an easy round. You can just sit there, you could defend and do your thing. It is in combinations when it gets more difficult, because now it's multiple shots coming at you at the same time, or one after another. It is at this point that Rufy tend to maybe catch a shot with his glove, and then he'll roll the follow-up shot, roll the chin or the jawline with that follow-up shot. So it's a beautiful way to kind of keep your ground and stay in tight with them if they're throwing combinations with you. Again, let me know your thoughts, because again, MMA, the gloves is a lot smaller. Even if you roll, maybe you still get in touch with that shot pretty hard. So what is your thoughts if it's a wise defensive trend or not? Obviously, Rufy made it look clean at 309, but can he play that against a higher level guy? Let me know what's good. Anyways, y'all, so I wanted to discuss those two trends, and then I'm also going to take a couple questions. I put an Instagram story up, and basically y'all can ask me anything. Only had it up for a very short amount of time. I got a few questions that I will be discussing. First one's from the man's Spivvy the Shepherd. Why do you think a portion of coaches teach covering up as opposed to structured blocks? This is something that I've been harping on for a minute. I haven't really talked to y'all like this too terribly much in long form or nothing. Most of my stuff is in the 1 minute breakdowns on IG, but this is something that I feel real strongly about. You doing your students a disservice if this is it. If that is how you teaching your students, especially when they're starting out, you're doing your students a disservice. That type of just covering up for defenses, uh, it's not dynamic and it's very susceptible because you're trying to put so much faith in just your hands being tight. And you're not teaching, especially a beginner student, how to discipline their eyes to tell, should I parry this straight shot coming at me, or am I training my eyes such that in halfway through my parry, I can still see, oh, that's no longer a straight shot. Maybe you turn it into a hook. Now I can bring my glove up to catch. Maybe I can wide catch, whatever it may be. When you substitute all that and just say, cover up, you are now putting yourself at a significantly lower defensive IQ. Um, and another thing that I'm real big on, and a lot of y'all might disagree with me. If so, don't comment this down below that you disagree. You can't do that. But uh, I don't like drilling. I have seen multiple classes. I've been to multiple gyms where they're doing glove to glove kind of Dutch drilling, and one guy throws a combination, and the other guy's here, and they're throwing as hard as they can. I'm exaggerating, but very way too hard, hitting each other on the high guard like that. Well, that's brain trauma that you get that you don't even realize you're getting. Uh, just because you're not getting clipped clean, you're still taking all of that. Whether you're taking it on the gloves or like you're technically taking it on the gloves, but you're also taking it on your head because your glove is connected to your head. This type of thing is it's not good for longevity, and I'm really big on longevity. I have a traumatic brain injury myself, so it's something that I take very seriously now. But in addition to that, even if you that guy who's like, yo, that's whack, son, no, I'm good, whatever it is, right? Well, you still not exposing yourself to the skill. If you just all you do is keep your hands up in high guard, you're losing out on a lot of different skills. You should be able to parry. You should be able to catch. You should be able to catch a hook and things like that, cap off an uppercut, etc. and so forth. So, anyways, Spivvy, my man's, this is the my very long answer to that. Next one is for my guy Caden Connolly. I have actually, Caden, what up, son? That's my son right there. He's from the UK and been helping him a lot with the long form film studies. If you guys have an opponent coming up and you would like me to scout them out for your upcoming fight, I do offer long form film studies, custom studies that you can hit me up on. Hit me up either on IG or on here, and we can look you out. Anyways, Caden, what's the biggest, most common habit in high level sports? I think I messed it. Oh, I'm sorry. What's the biggest factor that separates the elite fighters from the good? My bad. I'm sorry to be biased, y'all. I think it's film study is one of the biggest ones. If you are not studying tons of like fighting is not just going in there and doing whatever you want. It's also, this mag corny. I'm sorry. It's very boring. Andre Ward said this about his trainer Virgil Hunter. He said most days I don't like what Virgil puts me through. I don't like doing it. It's not fun. But he knew that that's the stuff that's going to work. So most and think of this like anything, right? Like your job, whatever job you work at, most days your job is just like, I don't want to go to work today, whatever it is, right? Fighting, if you're trying to be good, shouldn't be any different. You should be working on the stuff that most people do not want to focus on. You should be looking at tape and training yourself to see, hey, what makes this guy different? What is this guy good at? What can I capitalize on, et cetera, and so forth. I don't think most fighters do that. I think, unfortunately, a lot of folks just rely on physicality, especially like younger kids and stuff like that, relying on physicality and things like that. Now, I don't want to say most fighters. There's actually a lot of fighters that do that. But I think that that's one of the things that separates the elite ones from just the good ones. And I think that I will say this on the part of the fighters, a lot of coaches are not able to analyze an opponent. Not knocking coaches. I'm not going to drop no names or nothing like that. A lot of coaches can't analyze opponents. If that's the case, then I don't know what to tell you, but make sure you with a coach that can analyze opponents, because that's super important. That's their job to take care of you. Anyways, guys, thank y'all so much. Let me know if you have any questions, and also if you guys did like the video, please like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, please holler at me. I appreciate y'all. Peace.